Hey everybody, it is time for chapter 11 in The Excellent Wife, and it's the intimacy chapter, the wife's response. And let's see, the first thing I wrote is at the bottom of page 119, and really like the purpose for sex, why God made sex. It's a sexual bond between husband and wife, and it's for pleasure and procreation. Some people argue that it's just procreation. I guess they think they sound holier when they say that. And the world obviously uses it just for pleasure. Come here, girls. And not necessarily considering procreation an amazing gift and calling and blessing from the Lord. And it's between, intended to be between a husband and wife. Obviously, the world does that differently as well. The world's twisted and perverted intimacy in so many ways. It's awful, and I know that it has scarred many of us, all of us. I think it's safe to say all of us, and it has wrongly shaped our view of sex, sadly. But the Lord is so amazing. He can renew our minds and truly, truly change the way that we view sex, and help us to view it in a biblical, right way. One of the cool things that stood out to me when she was talking about the high calling of procreation, she said, bringing eternal beings into existence. That's amazing. I've never really thought about that before. That's incredible. It's not something to just do so lightly just because, with just any old person. This is a God-given blessing between a husband and a wife, and it's to enhance closeness and oneness, give us companionship. It's to help us fight against temptation and protect us from sin. I think I've shared this before in the biblical sex video that I have about how Scripture instructs us to use it as a weapon. Yes, it's for pleasure. Yes, it's for procreation, and it's also a weapon against the enemy. And she goes into that, like making sure that our husband is so satisfied that he can avoid and resist lust and temptation more easily. And she uses the food thing as an example. Like when you've eaten and eaten and eaten and you're so stuffed, somebody may come and offer you your favorite dessert, and you will easily refuse it because you are good, you're fine, you don't need it. Well, it goes the other way too. How much easier would it be for us and for our husbands to fall into temptation if we're hungry and really, really, really hungry, and the only thing available to eat is a Snickers bar? I want it, I'll take it, The same thing with lust and temptation. If we aren't satisfied and we aren't making sure that our husbands are satisfied, we're leaving ourselves very vulnerable for the enemy's attacks. And honestly, in my marriage, that's one of the most important things to me that I'm always thinking about, is making sure my husband is satisfied, that he is completely satisfied, so that when he goes out into this world and I'm at home with the kids and there's who knows what, being thrown in his face, magazine covers, billboards, whatever, customers he may have, people that are not believers, that are flirtatious, you name it, who knows, the things that our husbands encounter when they're out, that it would just be easy for him to be like, Lord, help me fight against this temptation to lust. And I'm helping him by making sure he's satisfied, so that it's even easier to fight against that temptation. That is like so much in my mind. And then I put to respond to each other's desires. The Lord tells us in 1 Corinthians 7 that our bodies we don't have authority over our own bodies, and our husbands don't have authority over their own bodies. So it's, that's can be taken so dramatically. Like, obviously that doesn't mean anyone can force each other, but if my husband tells me he desires to be with me, I'm pretty much left with no option but to say, okay, and vice versa. Unless, she gives examples on how, obviously, if it's absolutely impossible at that moment, give him a rain check, make arrangements for later, stuff like that. And that's real life. I mean, obviously, we can't, be unloading the groceries from the van and it'd be like, right now, okay, leave the kids outside riding bike. Of course not, we need to take real life into consideration. But basically, if you desire your husband, he needs to fulfill you. If your husband desires you, you need to fulfill him. And that's wonderful. That should create, instead of a great, what it should create is an assurance that you will never be lacking in that area, because he can't say no. So let me go tell him, and for him, you can be assured that he's going to come to you every time that he needs you. And hopefully, you'll go to him as well. You don't want to just always be waiting for him to come to you. And make sure that he's satisfied, And yeah, I put don't say no. Don't say no. It's like the opposite of drugs. Say no to drugs. Never say no to your husband when he wants sex. Never. With, realistic never there. Focus on pleasing him was one of her tips when she was saying one of the best ways for a wife to get in the mood is to enjoy having sex with her husband. And enjoy having sex is for her to concentrate on pleasing him. To not have sex with her life partner makes it easier for him to think and feel as if she does not love him and that she is not willing to meet his needs. I think that one of the most powerful ways that we can show our husbands that we love them is by making love to them. And sometimes our husbands carry a lot of burden of needing to be the spiritual leader of their home, the provider of their home and family. So much responsibility is on their shoulders, rightly so, put there by God. This is a way to